Hello and welcome to another science experiment. My name is Katrina McKell. Today I thought we would try Dr. Dot's robot hands, but with a twist. We're actually going to make a puppet. So to start off with, you will need some straws. You will also need a pair of scissors, some card, a pen, and some string or yarn. You will also need some tape, and then to make the puppet you will need a balloon, a carrier bag. I'm just using a bin bag here, and you will need a coat hanger, and some tape. You can use, I'm using sellotape, but I've also got masking tape that you can use. And you will need some lollipop sticks. And I've got this mug to rest the puppet on, which will make sense when we get to that stage. So to start off with, I'm using a biro just to draw the outline of my hands on the page. And now, because it's a puppet, I'm going to do the other one. Although, if you're doing one person, you might just want to do one hand so you control it. If you've got two people with this project, the other person can control the second hand. So this is a bit more trickier because I'm right-handed and I'm drawing with my left hand. Again, this is why you might want another person to help you. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is cut out the hands. Try and follow the lines as best as you can. Okay, so now that I've cut out my hands, now what I'm going to do is draw lines on my cardboard where my joints are. So if you look at my hand, you can see that I've got a joint there and also down here. So I'm just going to draw those lines in now. Again, you could put your hand on the paper and just use your own joints as a guideline. Okay, so now that I've drawn the lines on my hands, as you can see, what I'm going to do is bend the card at the lines to form the joints. So like this. So as you can see, I've done it with the thumb, and that is what it should look like. I'm just going to go ahead and do that with the others. Okay, so now I've done that, I should end up with something that looks a bit like this. Now what I'm going to do is cut my straws to size so that they match each of the joint sections. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I can use a pen again to help with the size. I need to leave a bit of a gap in between the lines so that the fingers can move properly. One note to add is that whilst I'm cutting the straw, it's quite useful to have the masking tape ready to stick down the joints so that you don't get mixed up with the sizes. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that for each of the joints. Okay, so as you can see, I've now completed all of the joints. I've got the right hand in blue and the left hand in yellow straws, so I know what one they are. Now what we're going to do is measure out length of yarn to each of the joints. You need to leave enough lengths to pull on, and you can just gauge on your own how much you think you'll need to pull. Yeah, I would say quite a lot actually. So about double the length of the finger that you're cutting. And I'm going to thread my first piece of yarn through the needle and then thread it through the straws. Now with paper straws, when I was cutting, I found out that they kind of squashed at one end, which meant that with the end of my scissors, I had to go through the straw. For example, this one, you can see it's squashed at the end. So I just went through the middle of the straw and evened it back out. And I also found that masking tape was better suited for this task because it's not as prone to sticking to you as sellotape is. It's easier to get off. So having said that, I'm just going to again pull that right through to the end. I also need one length of straw down the middle of the hand, like this. So I'm just going to measure that out now and cut it to length. Again, make sure it's in the center of the wrist, so about there. And again for the other hand. And I'm just going to stick those to each of the hands. Again, using some tape. Okay, and then as you can see with this piece of thread that we've got, which is attached to the thumb of my right hand, I'm going to now put that in the centerpiece of the straws. And again, you might want to use a needle to help you. Yarn can get quite frayed at the end, so again, have the scissors to hand. You could even put tape at the end of this to help you thread the needle. So just through the center straw. It might take a while because it is quite fiddly. Okay, so I've done that on one finger, and as you can see, the thread's gone through there and then through there, and if you pull it, it should move the finger in each of the digits, as you can see. Isn't that creepy? So I'm just going to go ahead and do that for the rest of them. Now that I've threaded the thread through each of the fingers on both hands, now what I'm going to do is pull the thread tight, but not too tight, so I've got a little bit of thread at the end, and just tape that down behind the finger so that it secures it. Right, as you can see, I've now taped the ends of the string to the back of the hand so they don't fall off. And if I pull each of the fingers, they move. Isn't that creepy? So the reason for this is because the straws are the bones in a hand, and the strings are the tendons. The tendons are muscles that control the movement of the digits, the fingers. The bones allow the person to grasp onto objects, but without the tendons, the fingers would not move. Now on to the puppet part of the project. I've got my balloon, and what I'm going to do is get a pen. A felt tip pen works best, and I'm going to draw a smiley face on the head of the balloon. Now what I'm going to do is blow up the balloon. And tie a knot. Blow up the balloon as much as you want. I've only done it this big because it's a head. So after I've done that, I'm going to tape or tie the balloon to the coat hanger. So in this case, I'm going to just tape the balloon to the coat hanger. And again, I think I'll use the sellotape for this because it's stronger. You can wrap the tail around the top of the coat hanger to secure it. And then with your tape, go around, again making sure that it's nice and secure. You may have to do this several times. I'll get another piece of tape just to secure it. Okay, so now I've got the head. And what I'm going to do now is tape a plastic bag to a coat hanger. First of all, I'm going to make a small hole at the top of the bag, which the balloon will go through. So I'm just going to find the bottom of the bag, and then this one's a bin bag, so it's a bit stronger at the bottom. what I'm going to do is get my pair of scissors and just cut an X shape into the bag. This is quite easy to tear, so the balloon should fit size. And I'm going to put the coat hanger through the bottom of the bag. Make sure that the head stays on. So you might want to hold the head whilst you do this. And then I'm going to find the hole that I've just made. And again, because it's quite a flexible bag, it will tear. And I'm just going to put the balloon through like that. And what should happen is you have something that looks a bit like this. Now what I'm going to do is I've got some arms here that will be quite useful, so I'm going to cut those off. So now that I've got my two arms, what I'm going to do is get some popsicle sticks to make the bones of the arm. To do this, I'm going to lay the bag flat and I'm going to get some sellotape and a popsicle stick, and I'm going to tape the popsicle stick down the middle. You will need one piece of tape to do this. And I'm going to get another popsicle stick because the bag is a bit longer. And do the same thing. So what you should end up with is something that looks a bit like this. Now what I'm going to do is fold the bag in half and tape down the seam. Again, using more than one piece of tape. So what I should end up with is something that looks like this. And as you can see, the arm moves. Now what I want to do is tape one of my hands to the popsicle stick so I can still move the fingers. So I'm going to get this the pieces of thread out of the way and lay it flat. And I'm just going to use some sellotape and tape one end of the bag onto the hands. and fold down any corners. So what I should have is something that looks like this, and as you can see, if I move the string down again, I can still move each of the fingers. And importantly, if you're wanting to move the separate fingers, this still needs to be over the bag. And I'm going to repeat what I've just done with the second bag. Okay, as you can see, I've now got my bag with my head, and I've also got 2 arms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape the arms to the back of the bag. Again, I would recommend sellotape at this point because it's stronger. And if you hold the bag up to your shoulders to get a rough guideline of where your arms should be. Okay, so once you've done that, what you should end up with is something that looks like this. So if I move the table out of the way, what you can see is I've got 2 arms with hands attached. I've got a balloon as a head, and I've got a body. Now, if I want to move each of the fingers, I'm finding that that's actually more of a challenge now because we've got the arm. So what I'm going to do is get 2 toilet rolls to form the bones in the arm, and stick that to the back of the loo roll so that I've got a bit more support. Okay, so as you can see, I've now taped some loo roll onto the back of the arms to form this muscle, which allows me to bend my arm. And it will also mean that I can bend the fingers more, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to thread my pieces of thread here through the loo roll. And there you have it. This is my finished puppet. You can also add hair if you want to your balloon to make it look more realistic. And you might want to mark up with your face again. You can see that mine's already fading. So as you can see, I've added another loo roll, and I've actually used parcel tape to secure it because the sellotape wasn't working. I've still got my threads through the second piece of loo roll. So what I can do is still move the hand. So if you're a puppeteer, you might actually on this occasion want to rest the puppet back on the table. And that's why I've got the mug, so I can place the puppet over the mug so it's resting, and you can still see the head. And then you would just pull, you would hold the hand, so the hand would be turned around like this, and then you could still pull each of the fingers so it would move. Isn't that cool? So yes, this project does take a bit of trial and error, but it's totally worth it. If you've liked it, please click like and subscribe, and feel free to make any comments in the comments below. I will be posting all the links that I've used, and Dr. Dots, of course, in the comments also. So thank you again for watching, and see you next time.